Hey everybody, it's Safi and Marco, Dish Out on the Movies. Today we are talking about Miracle on 34th Street that came out in 1947, the one with Natalie Wood, Maureen O'Hara, and I don't even know the names of the two male actors right off the bat, the one who played Santa, who we saw in other movies, and the one who played the lawyer.
What's the lawyer's name, Safi?
I don't know. You'll have to...
Oh,
Oh, God.
you don't even remember that?
No, but
Why not?
I remember the character very well.
Mr. Gailey?
Mr. Gailey.
Yeah.
Mr. Gailey!
Yeah.
But I don't remember his real
What
name.
do you remember? Because I actually watched the movie, because,
Actually,
I've
seen the movie about 20 times.
I've seen the movie about 20,000 times.
No, you haven't.
You want to bet?
Yeah. Okay, so what are we going to talk about? First of all,
I don't even know.
we have Natalie Wood. She's a little girl. She's a very good actress. I mean, all the actors in this version are really good at what they do. And Maureen, you have this little girl, and she's very matter-of-fact and businesslike. And her mother is divorced, and she's very matter-of-fact too, and she doesn't believe in anything mythical or magical and doesn't like to tell her daughter fairy tales. And of course she's told her daughter not to believe in Santa. And then you have Santa, the guy who plays Santa.
Now, let's go through it, because I guess the only thing to talk about is why is Santa Claus suddenly around?
Well, that's a good question. I've always wondered that. And he's in a nursing home facility.
Yeah, he starts off that way.
Right.
And so, why
I have no idea why they're in
Yeah.
that part of the country.
Why is he suddenly there? Why does he act like he's never seen chewing gum before, even though chewing gum has been around for a lot longer than that?
Yeah.
There's a lot of questions behind that, and so, I guess that's the only thing you could say. There's literally nothing else to say about the movie. I mean...
It's just a really good, it's funny. There's a lot of funny parts, and it's interesting to see Natalie Wood as a little girl she just did an excellent job. And
yeah.
it's amazing, the actresses and actors that
She's got good stroganoff.
The actresses and
Right, Safi? She's got good...
actors that they found as kids.
Natalie Wood
were
has...
really good back then.
She's got good stroganoff.
Okay, Marco. And they had a lot of lines, and they were just really good at playing their parts.
Santa Claus can't make stroganoff as good as Natalie Wood.
Oh, boy.
Right?
Marco is referring to a cookbook where Natalie Wood made a beef stroganoff, and we've made it two different ways. First, we made it with a, what is that stuff called? One was alcoholic, and one was, I think they both had alcohol in them, a sherry, wasn't it? But one's a cooking sherry, and the other one's a regular sherry.
And surprisingly, the regular sherry tastes better than the cooking sherry.
Cooking sherry is very salty.
Yeah.
So if you're going to add cooking sherry to anything that you make, I would suggest not putting any salt in it, because you don't need it, because the cooking sherry has enough in it. It probably has too much, because Marco tasted it and said it was loaded with salt. And I think I might have tasted it, and I agree. And I just don't know how anybody could use it. I've seen cooking shows where they picked up the alcohol, the cooking sherry, and drank a good finger off of it. And, ugh, God, I don't know how they did it. Gross. Because it's gross. Better to have the regular alcohol than the cooking
So
sherry.
this movie, I guess you could say too, because I'm struggling to say anything, because it's one of those movies where, people ask, well, why haven't you ever reviewed that? Like Home Alone, and then we actually review Home Alone.
We did all the Home Alone movies.
It's like,
every single one of them.
What is there to say? What is there to say about the classic movie, Miracle on 34th Street, that hasn't already been said?
And this is a classic movie. This is something you watch every year. It's kind of like a tradition. Like people watch It's a Wonderful Life. People watch It's a Christmas Carol. And they have their different versions of it that they like. I have a particular one. It has Alistair Sim in it. It's in black and white. It's my favorite one. And there's musical versions of it. And, so there's like certain Christmas movies, maybe even Halloween movies people watch every single year.
And I can't watch it every year because I've seen it so many times that it gets kind of like annoying to watch it again, unless it's like really, really good and you're really looking forward to watching it. Like, there's no reason to want to watch the movie anymore for like another couple of years, because been there, done that. But another thing to mention, I guess, would be it is a very realistic scenario, actually, because that if Santa Claus did exist and he did announce himself to society, that no one would believe him hardly at all at first, and they would put him on trial. Right?
Well, they might accuse him of being a fraudster.
Yeah.
And trying to take advantage of people.
Yeah.
But of course, you have to prove that, and you have to have the evidence of it. So.
Well, so I thought that was a realistic premise. So that's something to mention. It is not a very unrealistic thing. Like, I think one of the biggest issues with Christmas movies nowadays is that they're very unrealistic. Which is ironic, since the movie is sort of like anti-real world. Like, the movie is very pro-fantasy. And so it's funny the fact that, like, the movie's more realistic than the Christmas movies from nowadays. Because the Christmas movies nowadays, they're just, like, full-on, like, Looney Tunes. Like, okay, this regular guy, he's got to help Santa Claus, and he's got to travel with all these elves, and he's got to use magic and shit, and time travel. Like Christmas Chronicles.
Yeah. There's a lot of magic in there.
Part 2 especially. And like this movie is a lot more realistic and grounded. And so I would say that, if anything, ironically, Christmas movies should learn to be more realistic. And just in terms of like, it makes it better, because if it's more realistic, you can appreciate the fantastical elements more, because they're treated with more care than if everything was just like fantasy land. And
well, they're very subtle. It's like at the very end when Natalie had a picture of a house she wanted to have, and her mother and Mr. Gailey were going to get together, it looks like, and get married, and they would buy the house, and that was it. And so Santa, the guy who plays Santa, he went and found the house and then gave Mr. Gailey the address, and they went to check it out, and in the house was his cane. And
that's something that I did not understand as a kid, or I still don't understand, because I didn't get it. Like, I don't understand the significance of that, because it should suggest that, like, he got her the house, so he is Santa.
Mm-hmm.
But then Mr. Gailey says that maybe he didn't do such a good thing after all. So that's the part that I don't get at all. It doesn't fit at all, Safi.
Well, I'm trying to think.
Yeah, because you didn't watch it before we did this video.
I've seen it a million times.
But now you're struggling to even comment on it.
I'm trying to think why he say it. Maybe this hasn't such a, because it's it isn't as unrealistic or supernatural as you think it is, because if he asked us if the house is for sale and it had an open house, which means he could go in the house because the salesperson would be there, and he would just get his cane and just leave it in there when they let him in the open house. So I mean, that's not magical, but they're trying to imply that he because he's Santa, he found the house. He just looked at the listing, but they're trying to imply that it was magical, that he found the house and he left his cane there. But I really don't think it's that magical. I think that's the problem with it. I think it's very realistic. They had an open house. He went in. They showed him the house. He had a cane. He probably said, "I know some people are probably interested in the house. I want to leave this cane here." And he didn't even say anything. He just left it there. Maybe the salesperson didn't notice it, and then he left. And then he gives, because he gave Mr. Gailey, I believe he gave him the address to go to that address. And when she sees the house, as she's going home from the party, from the caregiving home, she knows that's because she's looked at the picture a million times. She has it. It's a special picture she's kept close to her of a house she really wants, because she's tired of living in an apartment. And she noticed the house, and remember, she said, "Stop!" And then
but I still don't get what's wrong with him putting his cane there.
Oh, well, the only thing is like, now let me think.
Yes,
I remember him
there's
saying,
no reason
maybe
for
it's
it.
not a good thing after all. I remember he said that, and I think that was the last line of the movie.
He said, maybe I didn't do such a good thing after all. It's like, why? I thought as a kid, and of course I was a kid, so, fuck off. I thought as a kid that it implied that he owned the house before or something, but he was in the old folks' home, so... But, like, I didn't get that at all. And the fact that, like, he just shows up out of nowhere. He acts like he knows things about society, but he doesn't know everything about it. It's really strange, because it's like, you either know most things or you don't. Like an elf, they established that Santa Claus, he knew everything. And he even told Buddy things of what not to do and what to do when he goes to New York. So, but in this movie, it's like he knows things, but he doesn't know things. Like, he doesn't know what chewing gum is, which is like a basic thing. And it's strange.
Well, he also doesn't know that some people are really bad, because...
well, that part's fine, because he's not used to being around normal people. Or, I don't know, is he? Because when did he first come on Earth?
I don't know. But when people, when that supposed psychologist for Macy's says that he, which is another weird thing, didn't pass this test to see if you're sane or not. I'll just call it a sanity test. That they put him in. They dropped him off at that famous psychiatric place, which everybody's heard of, and he was very depressed because he didn't realize people could be, and Natalie's mother, how she could be so. She like double. She what would you call it? She turned on him, and he didn't know it. He thought she was being nice, and she was two-facing him. That's what he thought anyway. And she didn't know anything about it, that they were taking him to that place, that psychiatric place. So he doesn't seem to know about some people can be jerks. So remember, he knocks the guy, the psychologist, in the head with his cane. And that's the one thing. And then the guy pretended like he got seriously hurt, which he didn't. But he pretended. So it was another thing with him.
Which, let's just say, like, what are our favorite moments of the movie? Because what else is there to talk about with Miracle on 34th Street? I would say one of the best moments is when that drunk wife is on the telephone.
Oh, yeah.
And she can't talk very well. And her husband has to keep helping her.
Well,
and
she
I
talks
thought,
on the wrong part of the phone. She talks on the ear part.
And she talks on the wrong side and everything. And I thought it was unfortunate we didn't get to see more of her, because she was really funny. And it would have been funny to see her interact with Santa.
Well, my favorite part was when all the mail people brought in the mail to Santa.
Well, that was
the courtroom.
That was really good.
And just piled it all on the what do you call it? The dais of the judge.
And of course, this was the scene that triggered someone at the film pre-college camp, where we were playing a trivia game, and they were playing scenes from movies, and all they did was show a frame of the video where you just see letters addressed to Santa. You know, they didn't even get to play the rest of the video, and I immediately rose my hand because I knew that was Miracle on 34th Street, and I was surprised that nobody else in the entire room could figure that out.
Really?
Even, like, the student counselors who were 20-something years old, they couldn't even figure out, based on that easy hint that you see the letters, black and white, addressed to Santa Claus, and I was the only one who knew. And there was a girl who asked, "How many movies do you watch?" based off of that answer. And I thought, this is pretty bizarre, because like, you'd think that everyone would have known that. And the reason why I raised my hand so fast is because I was scared that someone else would know.
Right.
Because why wouldn't they? Right?
Right.
So that was really bizarre. What do you think of that, Safi?
Well, I think too that, ow.
And it's not like a horror movie or like a rated R movie. It's a family movie for everyone. Everyone should know.
I don't know, Marco, you always watched it in color, because I don't remember the year they colorized it, but
I've seen it in color and in black and white multiple times. So suck on that.
well,
We got the DVD, remember?
right.
We have both.
I'm just thinking about other children who Marco went to school with. They'd never seen Andy Griffith. They've never seen anything that they do not, at their houses, they do not watch anything that's older. That Marco was one of the very few people who watched older shows and movies. And I really didn't understand that. I'm almost like it's a lacking of education, because I just don't, I mean, like Marco said, this isn't a rated R movie.
Yeah, this is Miracle on 34th Street.
This is a very family-friendly movie.
All you have to do is see letters, Santa Claus, boom. What other movie would it be? It's black and white. Put two and two together, you idiots, you nimrods.
Well, when you said the answer, was everybody go, "Oh yeah"?
No.
No, because
the only response was that one girl who was a year younger, and she said, "How many movies do you watch?"
Well, it has nothing to do with it. It's what you watch.
That was the only response. Nobody else was like, "Oh yeah." And I was like, "Wow, that's really weird. This is a weird," and it's just it's indicative of a societal problem, I guess.
I don't know what it's indicative of, but I'd say a lack of full education, because I mean, It's just there's no reason for people not to watch this movie, and it's good.
Yeah, there's only two
It's not
excuses.
bad.
Yeah, there's only two excuses for why you've never seen Miracle on 34th Street. Number one, you were trapped in a cult and you can't get out. Like any cult. Like Mormonism or anything. Or Scientology. Or you are in the Middle East and you either don't have access or you can't watch any movies because a man will hit you and rape you and do whatever to you. That's the only other excuse. There's no other legitimate reason that anyone in society has not watched Miracle on 34th Street.
Well, I don't think you should say that.
Why?
I just think that
there's not.
it's a kind of a lack.
What's their
of,
excuse?
A lack of awareness.
Well, that's bad. That's not an excuse, though. Like, if you killed someone and you weren't aware that it was illegal, that would still put you away forever. So...
I don't know, Marco. I just...
I do.
That's a little strong. And,
What?
Think about these stories, like that one with the family of like 13 kids, and they all dress the same, and they're chained to their beds.
And I said they had an
bath.
excuse because they're in a cult. They're in they're trapped. They didn't have any choice.
I know.
But you have this group of kids and student counselors, and none of them can put two and two together or even know what Miracle on 34th Street is.
Well, I hope that year they went home and they watched it.
I don't think they did.
Because, at Christmas time, these shows pop up all over the place.
They probably went home and watched The Polar Express or some shit.
Well,
right?
That has its place too, but I don't really care for it.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, maybe someplace in your mom's house.
Marco, what are you talking about?
What?
I have no idea what you're talking about, what you mean by that. It's so meaningless.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
So anyway, I don't know, I guess...
Another
Marco,
favorite moment?
Another favorite moment?
Or what were you going to say about Marco? What's so important about Marco?
Stinko.
Marco,
Linko.
Future
I'd say one
president.
thing, the boy, a young boy who works at Macy's,
Oh.
a teenager. He's kind of
A dipshit.
he's kind of a nerd. I don't know. I don't know how to describe him. He's very unusual.
It's a good thing that you brought him up, though.
He wants to play. He gets to play Santa at the I don't know what you want to call it, the rehab home or whatever, and I think back then they just called it an old folks home, didn't they? I don't know. Anyway, he got to play Santa and distribute presents, and he was really happy because he said that's something he really likes to do. So
I would like to say that guy is in the running for the creepiest person I've seen on film the whole year.
well, the psychologist sees him too and says weird stuff about him to his face. And the Santa got mad about that too because he's just an incompetent psychologist.
But
He does not do the right thing or say the right thing.
I seriously think that guy is creepy. He's just like, I really like to be Santa Claus, Chris. I really like to see the looks in the little kids' faces when I skin them alive and eat their flesh and bones and kill them.
He doesn't say anything like that.
That's what he was like, though. He was really creepy. Like, Alfred's his name. Safi would know that if she saw the movie.
I did see the movie about 50 times.
As a kid. Alfred is creepy.
Christ.
Safi, he is really creepy, right?
Yeah, whatever.
He is the creepiest element of this movie.
I think
Like-
another good scene in it was the
The
guy who plays Santa. He's at Macy's and he sees this little girl, and she can't speak English. She speaks Dutch. She's from World War II. She lost her parents or something, and she had a couple adopted her in the United States, And the Santa knew Dutch, and he could speak to her, and she was really happy.
See, that's another thing. It's like Santa knows this, he knows that, but he doesn't know this and he doesn't know that. Very weird. Right?
And that, in fact, when the little Natalie girl heard him speaking Dutch to that girl, she was like, and he spoke Dutch. Like, that was a convincing argument for her to believe that he is Santa, because her mom had been telling her that was not true.
Well, I would say another favorite scene, Safi, lock the door. I would say another favorite scene would be in the courtroom, or actually in the houses of the lawyer and then the judge. You know, where you have Fred from I Love Lucy, and he's telling the judge that if he puts Santa in prison or something, that he can't help him win the election, and there's all this like attacking going on for these people who are going after Santa Claus, and I thought that was really funny, because especially like when the lawyer's son testifies, and he's still really nice to his father, even though he goes up there and destroys him and says, "Fuck you." Safi,
What is that?
what do you, I
remember that. I don't know. What do you want me to say?
Well, say something else, like say something good.
Well, that was a thing. The guy, that Frawley, I think William Frawley.
Would you marine?
He's like a politician.
Would you marine her O'Hara?
He's like a politician, and the judge is up for re-election or something, and he says, you better not rule against this guy because it's going to destroy you at the polls. And so that was another thing too with the judge, but he wanted to be fair. He was trying to do the right thing. And the only thing, if they hadn't brought in that mail, I don't know what would have happened. When they brought that mail, it was addressed to Santa at the courthouse. Then that was kind of like technical proof that he was Santa.
Yeah, because you can't open someone else's mail.
Right.
So
that so he was able to, and then William Frawley at when they got that mail, and he did that decision about that he is Santa. He shakes his head yes, and I think he just walks out of the courtroom. So, anyway, it's a really good movie. I recommend it to anybody. I don't know if you haven't watched it.
I have to say, because I know that you want to wrap it up, evidently, because you don't want to...
Well, what else is there to say, Marco?
I haven't seen the movie in a while, so...
Oh, for hell. I know
Can't
everything about the movie.
Really? That's not very evident to me.
Why?
You didn't even know Alfred.
You said people have seen this before, so why should I go through every little thing?
You didn't know Mr. Gailey.
I just didn't remember his name, sorry.
No, because we're watching all the different versions, and so I thought that, obviously we have to watch it just as a basis of comparison. Even though we've seen it a lot, it would be nice to refresh ourselves so that when we see another one, we go, oh, or ooh, or oh, or ooh. But what I wanted to say was I'm surprised that they haven't made like a gross modern version, like, a feminazi version of Miracle on 34th Street, because
I don't know how they would.
I feel like they would if they could. They could figure it out. Because, the single mom, she's kind of made to look like a bad guy in the movie because she's so anti-fantastical, and, she doesn't have a father for her daughter, and stuff like that. And by the end of the movie, her mission of the movie, or her objective, is to get a father for the daughter, which, nowadays they wouldn't want to celebrate that. They would be very against that. So, right, Safi?
Yeah, I don't know if that's her mission, but she starts feeling like a regular person again. I just don't think she had lost faith in who she was. I mean, she works, and comes home and everything is just like regimented and set, and there's nothing interesting or exciting to look forward to. It's just kind of I don't know, it's kind of like, even though she has her daughter, she loves her daughter, it's kind of like a drudge thing. Just seems like everything's very regimented, and she goes to work, she makes a living, she comes home, she makes dinner, it's the same thing every day. And her daughter, she's kind of like teaching her daughter the same kind of life. Her daughter's just a little girl.
Yeah.
And if she has the right to provide her with something more than a regimental lifestyle where you don't have anything magical, or just because she's gone through a divorce doesn't mean that you stop believing in magical things, or like Santa, just for example. You don't have to believe in every single thing that's weird or magical, but at least Santa, you can teach that with your kids and just go through the motions every Christmas. So I think, she kind of like, you talk about character arcs, she has a character arc because she meets this Santa person.
Yeah.
He's changed her in terms of how she views things. She views things in more of a humanistic view, where she just sees the good and happiness and mysteries and magic and the unknown, and not worry about the unknown, because sometimes the unknown is good. Everything doesn't have to be perfectly known and expressed and done. It can be something unexpected or fun, and not to be so jaded. So anyway,
Yeah, like the daughter has been trained to not even be able to play pretend with her friends,
which is kind of ridiculous.
Like,
that's almost going too far.
These kids were playing animals at the zoo, and they asked me which animal I am, and I said, I'm not an animal, I'm a girl.
That's how she said it. And she's like, then they kicked me out. And Santa Claus is just like, God, this girl has been abused, because like this is not normal.
Well, he just teaches them that they could have fun and pretend, and instead of just looking at everything through a realistic
I
view.
think that they need to make a sequel about Alfred becoming a serial killer, and then Santa Claus has to stop him. Right?
Why would they ruin the movie?
They could
like
even
that?
make it to where it's like, how many years old was Natalie Wood when she died of conspiracy theory?
I don't know, 58?
Death. Okay, so this movie is gonna
I
be
don't know, how old was she in this movie? 5?
they're not 43. So
Wow.
this movie is going to be set when she is 43 years old, and she's just about to go die, and all of a sudden, you could have it to where she gets killed by Alfred. Alfred has tracked her down. He wants to he wants to destroy Christmas spirit forever because he has a complex of some kind, and the psychiatrist was actually right about him.
That guy wasn't a psychiatrist. He was a psychologist.
And then Santa Claus has to come back from the dead as a zombie Santa, and he has to go back in time and save Natalie Wood from being killed by Alfred. Beat that. Boom.
Okay.
Boom.
I don't like it. And
Why?
It's stupid.
It's dark, it's gritty, and it's fun.
It wouldn't be for Christmas.
Why?
Marco,
You wouldn't want to. You don't think that
you
it
really
would.
want to destroy the Miracle on 34th Street movie? That kind of nonsense?
Well, you don't think that it would be a very Merry Christmas if they reversed history and brought Natalie Wood back?
Oh God.
That wouldn't be a Merry Christmas to
I
you?
don't think they're going to be
That
bringing
wouldn't-
Natalie Wood back. She's
That
been dead
wouldn't
for
be
years.
that wouldn't be a miracle on
Marco-
34th Street?
Marco is kind of weird about people who've died. I don't know what it is.
That would be a miracle.
Yeah.
A Christmas miracle that Santa helped solve.
Okay, well, what was the miracle on 34th Street, Marco?
Well,
Let's see if you can come up with that.
I thought that. Well, I can't remember. Where's 34th Street?
That's probably right down in
I
New
thought-
York City, right? One of the main
I thought
streets.
there's a couple options because I don't know where 34th Street
We've
is.
never been to New York.
Yeah, Safi wouldn't let us go.
Actually, we had a chance to go, and it was thwarted as usual. Just like when we wanted to go to San Antonio this summer for a $2,000 non-refundable trip ticket, which I will never do again.
Yeah, we got insurance, and then they didn't even care about that.
No, they would not. They would not cover what happened.
But it didn't help. Safi would not tell them that I was sick and I went to the hospital. So, that probably would have done it.
I don't know. I'm
But
not
she
really
she
sure.
she didn't believe that I was sick, so she didn't tell them anything.
Oh my
She
God.
thought I was making it all up, and
Well, I
so
told them we didn't have any. The people who were supposed to take care of our cat, I had set them up. He's diabetic, so he has to have his medicine at 6 a.m. in the morning, 6 p.m. in the evening, and they could not handle it. And so they decided, instead of telling me right then and there when I tried to make the vet appointment to do that, they tell me a few days before we're supposed to leave.
yeah.
And expecting me to find a replacement in the middle of vacation season when all these other people who go to the vet and take their animals off, drop them off, and they go on their vacations right in the middle of vacation season. So there's nobody who can do it, especially he's diabetic. That was the clincher too, because there were places I could have taken him, but since he was diabetic, they could not give him a shot. That was another thing. So I
See,
called,
look, there's Natalie right here in the game. See,
So I called about 20 people.
see.
So they ruined it, and then we could not get refunded $2,000 tickets. I will never take the train ever again
See, there's a Natalie right there.
since
You
the
don't
tickets are non-refundable.
you don't think it would be a miracle on 34th Street if Natalie Wood was saved back in time travel?
Oh my God!
You don't think
I
that
just
that
think
would be
it'd
a good
poor
thing?
Taste. Just
Why?
be quiet.
But
not
it would-
doing that. Not
It
talking
would be a
about
good
it anymore.
thing. They did Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, so why can't you do that for Natalie Wood?
Maybe you could. I don't know. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
Okay, Marco, but that's
Yeah.
different. She wasn't.
No, it wasn't.
Really?
Yeah.
You think that's comparable?
Natalie Wood was murdered. It just hasn't been come out yet.
Oh, Marco.
She was
I
murdered.
wouldn't say that.
It was a
That's,
conspiracy, obviously, as usual.
Marco, you
you know.
shouldn't say that. You can get sued.
Well, fuck it. Natalie's right here, and she's telling me. See? There's a Natalie right there in the game.
Okay.
On
Marco's
Roblox.
As usual, Marco is playing a video game while he does this review.
That's because I can multitask. I'm a multitasker. I can watch Miracle on 34th Street, and at the same time, I can come up with a beautiful sequel idea that not only tackles Alfred's true mental state, but also saves a Hollywood legend from being murdered in the water
Yeah, okay.
by
Marco.
a mysterious assailant.
Okay, well, I think we're done now.
Why?
So, there's nothing really much to say except I would recommend this movie. If you've never seen it before and you want something to watch at Christmas that's not a Hallmark movie, and like I think there's an Eddie Murphy movie for Halloween, for Christmas on Amazon Prime Video. I don't know what's on Netflix this year because they have been doing this thing with Goldie Hawn and her husband where he plays Santa, and 2 years in a row they did a movie. I don't think they did anything this year, and if they did, and I just don't know, let us know.
I hope they don't, because Christmas Chronicles 2 sucked. So
It just, the first one I thought was really good.
it was a big letdown. It was
the
a
second one was
huge
not so good.
disappointment. It was so exciting that Goldie Hawn was going to be Mrs. Claus, and then they ended up doing that stupid movie that they did, and it was like, oh, great.
No, she didn't have that big of a part. But anyway, if they're...
I know, that was
this is
disappointing.
This is a very traditional old movie, and it's in color. it's been colorized for a long time now. That was like when they first started colorizing movies. It was probably one of the first ones they colorized. So if you don't like watching black and white movies, you can watch this in color.
Yeah.
And some people have some kind of aversion to black and white.
Well, I like to watch both because it's kind of fun to see, like, what everything looks like in color for fun. You know, like, it's just kind of like a fun little thing to see every once in a
They've been doing
while.
this thing with, on YouTube, in World War II, and even for the Civil War, they've been colorizing, like, photographs to show, because, you know, the Civil War, there's just no way, and there was no videos, so you have photographs, and they've been colorizing, like, soldier ones, and
that's fun.
Battlefield.
That's very fun.
And in World War II, they've been doing photographs of people who were killed and what they would look like to kind of add more humanity to them. And also, you know, battlefield scenes. And I think that's really interesting because that's different than just colorizing, you know, a popular movie or whatever. So, anyway, check the movie out.
Okay, so we have to do our food review, though. Remember?
Oh, well, I would give it a, some peppermint ice cream.
Ooh.
With a dollop of whipped cream on top and a peppermint stick in the sticking a little tiny one out of the whipped cream.
Why?
What kind of food would you give it?
Well, it's tough because, like, what classic food is there that, like, really feels like classic and good and just perfect in every way? And I think about, I guess, chicken dinner. You know, we haven't really had that a lot, but
No.
chicken dinner is just really classic. You got chicken. I like the legs and also breast meat. I mean, I don't like the thighs, not very much. And then you have mashed potato and gravy and corn. And it's just a very good meal. And you could probably never get tired of it. Just like this movie, because it's a very good movie. And I would also like to say that we will be seeing a Miracle on Santa Catalina Island, California, in the future. It will be the greatest sequel of all time.
Oh, God.
And it will be the best thing ever in history.
Okay, so if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and become one of our subscribers. And to add to the feedback and to the quality of the participation and other people watching the things we watch and what they have to say.
The tagline for the movie will be Santa Never Dies.
And that's just BS.
Why?
And
He doesn't.
I think, isn't Fargo going to be on Tuesday? Even though that's the day after
Yeah, it
Christmas?
will. And that's another strange thing is why in the hell is Hell's Kitchen off for 2 weeks, but then Fargo is on the day after Christmas?
And I made a mistake on the Fargo review, and I think I'm just going to say it now. Maybe I'll bring it up again. I thought that that Gator had put a bomb underneath the car, because I've seen that in other movies where they put something in the bottom and it's lit up. You can see the blinking light, and then it goes off on down the street or somewhere else. It's time to go off in so many minutes or whatever. And according to another YouTuber, it was a tracking device, and they had used the exact same tracking device in that movie No Country for Old Men.
And it was funny because I thought it was a tracking device, and Safi is the one who made me think, Natalie was found. She's dead in this game too. Safi was the one who told me that it was a bomb. I thought it was a tracking device for sure.
Actually, the outcome is, they're actually trying to make the outcome the same. What would that do? That would kill him, but I guess that'd be too obvious.
See, I just saved Natalie, by the way.
And so
in the
what
game.
they're going to do is they're tracking him so they know where he lives, so they can go after him in the middle of the night. It kills me. It's very naive of them because he knows exactly what they're up to all the time. And it'll be interesting to see how that works out. But I just wanted to clarify that I was mistaken. So
Yeah, you were.
I did see that movie, No Country for Old Men, but I think I've seen it once. But they showed a picture of the one from that movie and this one, and they're exactly the same. So, anyway, goodbye, everybody.
Bye.